Hi, welcome to Square Peg Homeschool. I'm currently homeschooling an 8-year-old girl who has just finished the second grade. Today we're going to talk about the hits and misses for Math and Language Arts 2024-2025 second grade. So starting with math, I began her with CLE Math 1 in the middle of first grade, and we finished it up in December of second grade. And we really like this one. It's very kind of uncluttered and spiral and step by step, and there is a lot of review. So if your child needs a little extra help remembering math facts, or just not getting distracted with visually cluttered curriculum, this is the one to get, I think. This was a big hit. And also in first grade, it comes with the counting book, my counting book, which is a very simple and effective way of learning numbers. Every day they just write 10 numbers for the day until they get all the way to 1,000. So it gets in a lot of good writing practice of numbers, and it brings in a lot of number sense. The other thing that level 1 comes with is the calendar book, and it was cute. It was a lot of fun, but we didn't do this every day because oftentimes we forgot. But what you would do is you would have in your month, you would kind of fill out every day, and we didn't on weekends or because we forgot or things like that. And at the end of the month, you would then fill out a chart, and you would learn how to graph things by chart that way. And so this was cute. It was just a nice supplement. I did not teach my child about calendars or weeks, days, and months, that sort of thing using this. I just bought a $1 academic calendar from the dollar store. And every day for about a minute, I would ask her questions like, what will the date be exactly 2 weeks from now? Or what day and date will a holiday fall in? That sort of thing. Okay, so after we finished level 1 in December, we moved on to level 2, and we were able to finish up through light unit 206. And in the fall, we will just begin again with 207. And 206 is where they begin introducing multiplication. And so my daughter was really excited about that, and was kind of sad that we had to stop right here. But over the summer, I think I'll introduce a little bit of maybe a few multiplication facts over the summer. The other thing we did over second grade, and we just did this on Fridays, a few pages a day until it was finished, was telling time. I downloaded this from the Artful Math website, but you can also purchase a physical copy from Amazon, I believe. And I really like this. I felt that it was a hit. It's just lots of nice little exercises and games, and they were fun to do. We just did a few pages every Friday until it was done. And by the end of it, she knew how to tell time really well. Now, she rated this only a 5, but I would rate it much higher. I think this was a hit because it was very effective. And when I asked her how she felt about CLE Math, she rated it 5 million, billion, gazillion. And I told her we had to limit it to 10, so we're going to rate it a 10. And I was really surprised. I was not expecting her to like math that much, but I think it was such a good change from the math we were using before that she really came to appreciate this math. So this was a hit. CLE Math was a hit, and telling time from Artful Math was also a hit for me, even if she wasn't that wild about it. Moving on to language arts, I have quite a lot to show you because I wanted to do all the things and had a very hard time simplifying. But we eventually just settled into mostly CLE Language Arts. I've covered up her name here. A year ago, when I decided to try out CLE Language Arts, I had her take the placement test, and she did test into second grade. But when I went but only barely. She was maybe like 2 or 3 points over the minimum line for second grade. And so when I was looking back through the samples for level 1, it just seemed like a good place to start her. And even though it was simple, I don't regret that at all. I think she learned a lot, and it's slow and steady with a lot of repetition and review, and that's exactly what she needed. And again, you can see just kind of how uncluttered and simple it is. This is why I like it. She rated this a 5. She did not love or hate this at all. It was just something she did because I asked her to. I would rate it probably an 8. And the reason why it's not higher is because I really dislike all the sections with the diacritical marks. I think other than short vowels and long vowels, a student this age does not need to know all the nuances of linguistics. I was just trying to see if I could find an example. Like right here, you can see I tend to just to cross those out because as long as she can read the words, here you go again. As long as you can read the words, you don't need to know all these nuances, and especially since the authors of CLE Language Arts, I think, have a different accent than mine. And so sometimes I found the way they were insisting on pronouncing words a little funny. So I think overall this is a hit. It did what it was supposed to. But I do take off points because there was a lot of that very unnecessary linguistics work in there. And it's just, we don't need that. So this is a hit to me, but it could have been better. Okay, moving on. The other thing we did is explode the code. We did 3.5 and 4. And this is just something she did on her own for independent work. I would have her do a couple of pages 3 or 4 times a week. And it's just, she likes it. She would rate it pretty high. I would rate it pretty high. But I think we're getting to the point where maybe it's a little bit of busy work. However, I'm still going to use it next year because I like that she has independent work and that it's just a lot of phonics review for her, and that's a good thing. Okay, spelling. I would have to say this spelling, which is BJU Spelling 2, although it's really nice, it's a very traditional spelling system where you get a list of words and you do a page a day, and then you do a test at the end of the week, and it's nice and it's colorful, so there's nothing wrong with it at all. I just found that she wasn't retaining anything she had learned during the week when she had to put it into use at some other time. So we ended up only doing maybe about 10 weeks of this and then put it aside. And I'm hoping that next year we'll focus a little more on spelling because this was the year where she kind of took off with reading. And so hopefully next year she'll take off with spelling and writing. But I'm sadly going to have to say that this spelling program from BJU was a miss for us. Reading comprehension, this was not necessary. It was just a supplement that I picked up because I thought it was cute, and I threw it in here and there. It wasn't even a weekly thing. It was maybe every other week or every 3 weeks that we would do this. This is reading comprehension from Abeka, and I really like this because every single week was a different style of item that you had to read, and every activity on the back was different. So the student can't just do this on autopilot. They actually have to read, digest it in order to answer the questions. So I gave this pretty high marks. I'll give it a 10, and she gave it a 10 too, which surprised me because she never gave any indication that she liked doing it, but she rated it high. So this was a definite hit, and we only did about half of it. So I think we'll carry on with this into next school year. Another thing that we did every week was Gentle Grammar Level 1. I think this paired really nicely with CLE Language Arts Level 1. And this just provided a lot of writing practice. She did not really enjoy this because she's a reluctant writer, but that's normal at this age, I think. So we just did a little bit here and there. Oftentimes I would only ask her to do, like half a page per day. So I didn't want it to be overwhelming, but I do think this is nice practice. And we only have a few pages left in it, and I think we'll probably do that over the summer. For handwriting, we started The Good and the Beautiful Level 1 handwriting in grade 1 and finished it up early in grade 2. I would probably call this a miss because she did not enjoy doing this at all, and very rarely did kind of the little extra drawings. She did one there, but didn't like to color, didn't like to draw. Oh, see? She was showing me her spelling skills right here. Did not enjoy this, and I was really surprised. I thought she would love it, but never wanted to do it. And maybe that's just a result of being in first grade and being resistant to homeschooling, because she had started out in public school in kindergarten and wanted to go back to public school. So anything I asked her to do that first year in first grade, she just did not enjoy. But we finished this in second grade. Oops. And then started Draw and Write Seasons. And I have to say, I really like this, and she really liked this, and this was a big hit. She rated it a 10. And what I like about this is that it is very efficient. You are getting copy work practice and handwriting practice and drawing practice all in one little session. So you can see how cute everything is. And once the student once the student knows how to write their letters, they actually don't need to trace in workbooks for the next several years. They just need to practice writing. So I like this. There is a tracing option if the student needs that, but she never used it. She just went ahead and did the writing. So we'll continue this. I like it a lot. Big hit. All right, another big hit in the house was this Pictures Story Starters for Little Kids. We started this in first grade, and we tried to do it every week, and we continued it on into second grade until we had finished the entire thing. And all it is they give you, a picture and a prompt, and then she would tell me her story, and I would write it down for her. You can see just how kind of nice and simple this is. So this was a big hit. We enjoyed it a lot. And when we finished with that one, we went on to Once Upon a Pancake. And this is really cute. It gives you pictures, and it actually kind of prompts the story a little bit to help you get started. But for some reason, this did not take. We were not able to get into this very much. She didn't enjoy it. Although when I asked her at the end of the year what she thought about it, she gave it a 10, which was not how she responded to it during the year. So I'm going to have to say that this is a miss for this year, but I think we'll carry on next year and probably get through it. Another supplement that I started in first grade was word ladders. Now, in first grade, this was a big miss. She did not like this at all and refused to do it. And I think that has a lot to do with spelling. She was not confident in spelling. And so this was very stressful to her to try to do it. And even during most of second grade, she did not want to do this. And finally, I brought it out again, kind of right at the end of second grade. And you know what? She started to do it, and she said she liked it, and now rates it a 10. So we only have a few pages done in this, but I think I'll bring it back next school year, and she'll probably do really well with it. She rated this a 10. So in the past it was a miss, but I think this is now a hit. Another fun supplement that I randomly saw and decided to purchase, because that's just who I am, was Mad Lib's Workbook Grade 2. She loved this. She gave this a big 10. So this is a big hit. And what you have is, on one page you would have a phonics page, and on the next page you would have traditional Mad Libs filling in the blanks. And she really enjoyed that and thought it was funny and always wanted me to read it out loud afterwards. Now, she never did the phonics page because we were already getting phonics in so many other places, such as Explode the Code and CLE Math. CLE Language Arts. And that's fine. You know, this was just for something fun to do. So we did it maybe once a week or every other week. And now, to show you how really insane I am when it comes to language arts, I printed off pages from the free version of Level 2, The Good and the Beautiful. I didn't print off everything. I only printed off some writing pages and reading comprehension pages. And I also printed off the geography, but we ended up not doing that. We had too much on our plate. But so you can see we didn't do the geography. But I really did like the reading comprehension. I'm trying to find one for you. Like, they're just really cute. And the writing exercises were very, very gentle and sweet. Let's see if I can find one that we actually did. Like this. I wish they had more of this, but there were only maybe 3 or 4 of these in the entire book. So we enjoyed doing this. It was good exercise. And we just did maybe a page on Friday, a page or 2 on Fridays. And we did not even get through just this little bit that I printed out. Okay. For literature, let's start with poetry. We started the year doing a children's book of verse, illustrated by Eric Kincaid, and we just read a poem or 2 every day. This is a really nice book with lots of really beautiful illustrations. And this was a big hit. She always wanted another poem. And we managed to read the entire book, only skipping a few of the very long poems. It's a big hit. She liked it. I liked it. The next book of poetry we did was A Light in the Attic. And I love Shel Silverstein, and my daughter really liked Where the Sidewalk Ends that we did in 1st grade, but for some reason she did not enjoy this one as much. I'm not sure why. I thought it was a lot of fun, and of course at the end of the year when I asked her what she thought, she gave it a 10, but in reality she didn't actually enjoy it when we were reading through it. But she may change her mind. Okay. For read alouds, where I was just the one reading aloud, I read My Father's Dragon, The Trumpet of the Swan, The Wild Robot, and Heartwood Hotel. I think these were all hits. She really liked The Trumpet of the Swan. She wasn't as crazy about The Wild Robot, although I liked it a lot. And she liked The Heartwood Hotel. And The Heartwood Hotel I paired with Lit House Learning. They have sentence exercises that go with that, based on the writing revolution. And we also did the lap book option. Now, she really liked the book and she liked doing the lap book, but she did not enjoy doing the sentences, and that's fine. One thing I would like for Lit House Learning is I wish they had more teacher support in how to present the material and the exercises to the students so that it felt more comprehensive, because I've read The Writing Revolution and I liked it and I understood all the exercises, but I wish there was a little just more structured way to present it to the child. So I would say all the books were a hit. Lit House Learning was probably around a 5 or a 6, although she did like the lap book. So these were books I read out loud. Books we read together, where I would read a page and she would read a page, are The Sword in the Tree, and A Hibiscus. And from Pathway Readers, we read Busy Times and More Busy Times. These were all hits. We enjoyed them all. But the biggest hit of all was the Pathway Readers. These are such just lovely and gentle and surprisingly engaging stories about rural children. I believe it's a Mennonite publisher, and the stories reflect that. And even though we are not Christian or religious, we got a lot out of these books. I really like the stories. They're not preachy. They're just very interesting everyday scenarios, and you walk away from them having learned something or just feeling better. And we really enjoyed this. This was definitely the sleeper hit of the year. Okay. In addition to our read alouds, I added a reading log. And it was this one that I got off of Amazon. It is super cute, the bookworm. And it's very simple and not overwhelming to do. So as you can see, it's a page with general information, such as the title of the book and the author. And then the child gets to rate the book, which she really liked to do. And even more fun is the parent gets to rate the book too. And also, if the child read the book on their own, or they read and listened, or they just listened the whole time. And then the child gets to write what they thought about the book, or sometimes she would tell me and I would write. And on the back, there would be some sort of activity, and that would be it. And another fun thing they get to do is the bookworm always takes a bite. And so they would remove the little, she would remove the little tab each time at the end of filling this out. So this was just very simple and not overwhelming like some reading logs are, because at this age, I didn't want her to dread reading a book if she knew she had to do some big reading a log assignment afterwards. So I didn't make her do a reading log entry for every book, or even most of the books, just some books, especially if it was something she had, a big book like she had accomplished reading, such as, she really liked this one, Ellie's Story, or Harry Potter. You can see 5 stars was just not enough. She had to add a whole lot more stars. And so this was a hit. She really enjoyed filling this out each time. And I would have to say all our read alouds and read togethers this year were hits. And, you know, she read a lot on her own this year too. She started the year out reading books like Frog and Toad, and she ended the year reading large books like Harry Potter. She read the first 2 Harry Potter books completely on her own. I thought we would read those together, but nope. After the first chapter, she just kind of grabbed it and ran away into a corner and was absorbed into it. Okay, so that was our hits and misses for math and language arts, 2nd grade, 2024 to 2025. For math, the big hit was CLE math. And for language arts, the big hit was More Busy Times. All right, thank you so much. I'll have a video coming out later about the hits and misses for science and history and our other electives. See you next time. Bye-bye.